Hello, everyone. It's a beautiful Thursday here in Fort Worth, Texas, and I have a fellow Texan with me. And my guest today, you're going to love him. I smile every time I just read his name, and he's one of my favorite people. Love, love, love this man. His name is Dr. Douglas Posey, MD, and he's a keynote speaker. He's also the author of many books like Locked Up, From Mississippi to the Morgue, and The Real CSI. And he has been practicing forensic medicine for guess how long? Oh my gosh, 40 years. 4 decades. Oh, I missed one finger. 4 decades. He's a passionate advocate for young people of color entering forensics, and he empowers them and every one of us with his story, which you're going to have the privilege of hearing today. Welcome, Dr. Posey.
Thank you, Elena. It's such a pleasure to be with you.
Ah, it is a privilege for me, and thank you for gracing us all with your time and your wisdom. It's really a gift to me. Thank you. All right. So, you're an author in The Gifts of Pain too, besides your long list of books that I just talked about, and many more in the works. So stay tuned, everybody. And so, in The Gifts of Pain, you shared your story, and I would love for you to also share it with the audience today, not only the ones who are live right now, but the ones who will be listening and tuning in and watching the recording.
Yes, my story starts way back in 1960, if you will. And it starts with my graduating from high school. And no one had ever mentioned college. We didn't know anyone in the community that had gone to college. The one man that I did know that graduated from the Tuskegee Institute and was prototypical of what Booker T. Washington taught. He was killed one night they said he had joined the NAACP. So when I graduated high school, Elena, I was thrilled to graduate from high school, but then I woke up one morning and with literally no place to go.
Wow.
My mother was so worried about me. The young people in the small town, small community of Centerville, Mississippi, literally disappeared during the night, and no
Wow.
one talked about it. It was never mentioned. And my mother, I believe, her primary goal was to get me out of Mississippi alive.
Yes.
So my sister had been married in the 10th grade, divorced in the 11th grade, had a son, Donald, never got married again, never had another child. And she and I graduated high school together.
Wow.
And she went to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I looked up her ex-husband in New Orleans, Louisiana, and asked if I could come and stay with him.
Yeah.
He took me out with him to the waterfront. He worked for the International Longshoremen Association, unloading green stalks of banana that had just came in on speedboats, literally, from Latin America. And they weighed between, say, 50 to 100 pounds. And
Wow.
he was able to get me a ticket. He was a union worker. He was able to get me a ticket to work with him. Uh, Elena, I lasted 13 days. And for the one time in my life, I'm 83 today as we talk. For the one time in my life, I packed a tent and went back to my mother's house.
Hmm.
And by the grace of God, Coach Hicks, my high school coach, he was 15 miles away in Woodville.
Okay.
I don't know how he got the word so fast that I came back home, but he was at my mother's house the next day.
Wow.
And my mother's personal trinity was the good Lord, her preacher, and the teachers of her children. So
Yeah.
Mr. Hicks walked in, he greeted my mother as Miss Posey, and looked at me without greeting me and said, "You can't stay here."
Wow.
And then he went and whispered to my mother. And as he walked back out of the door a few minutes later, he said, "Pack his clothes, Miss Reba, I'll be back tomorrow morning." So my mother had so much respect for Coach Hicks, she wasn't about to query him. I think she may have had a good night's sleep knowing that I was getting out of Centerville, Mississippi, but I was restless because I had no clue as to what Coach Hicks was up to.
Yeah.
So he shows up the next morning and he tells my mother that he's going to get me into Utica Junior College on a package deal with three athletes. He said, "Your son is not an athlete." He said, "As for football," he said, "got good hand. He has excellent hands, but I don't know anyone in the world that's slower than he is."
Oh my God.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, that's a record.
Yeah, and he said, as far as his basketball skills go, I could cut his left hand off and it wouldn't affect his game. I said, "My God." So we put the clothes into I didn't have many, so it didn't take long to pack. Put them in the Coach Hicks car. He drove 100 miles from my mother's house to the gates at Utica Junior College in Utica, Mississippi. And he and Coach Page, who would later go on to become the first Black education secretary under President Bush Jr., Coach Hicks and Coach Page uh, closed himself up into the office in the gymnasium while we stood there. And I don't know, Coach Hicks died before of multiple myeloma before he would tell me what they talked about. But Coach Page would go on then to go out of his way. There were several instances when he should have just simply sent me back to Centerville. And I get goosebumps when I wonder what would have happened to me had he done that. But he
Mm,
helped me to get through Utica Junior College.
yeah.
He helped me to get into Alcorn State University. It was Alcorn Agricultural and Mechanical College at the time with the Pell Grants and the whole thing. So
Yeah.
I go on to, I took a non-teaching degree from Alcorn in 1964, left the state the next day and went to Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I worked for Michigan Department of Health Laboratories.
Wow.
The only block in the capacity that I was working in. On the 5th of May in 1966, I got drafted into the United States Army. And once again, someone shows up. I don't know who it
Mm,
was. I'd never seen them before. And he encourages me to go and make some maneuvers, extend my stay in the United States Army, and request medical technology training after he looked at my background at Fort Sam Houston at Brooke General Hospital. So I did that,
yeah.
took my medical technology examination sitting alone in Second General Hospital in Landstuhl, Germany. Passed it, came back, and 8 years to the day of taking the non-teaching degree from Alcorn, I entered the medical school class at Wayne State University.
Wow.
I would go on from there to become the first Black to study anatomic and clinical pathology at the United States Naval Hospital in San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah, becoming board certified in anatomic and clinical pathology. And the story just goes on and on and on.
Wow. I mean, I am mind blown, and there are so many things that I want to comment on. But first, I want to ask you, when were you in San Diego?
In 1977 to 1981,
Oh, wow.
4 years, the
Amazing.
most beautiful. I That's the only time in my life I believe where I think I exercised ran or jogged every day. I was in the
Yeah.
best shape of my life. Maybe
By the
water has
beach.
been downhill ever
By
since then.
Oceanside Beach. You know, that's where my daughters were born. That's why I'm asking. They were born in at the Naval Hospital in San
Right.
Diego,
Just
in Camp
ac-
Pendleton.
just across the street from the zoo.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've been to that zoo so many times. But you know, something that I want to talk about is this just incredible people. I don't even know how to call them, where they're plotting, right? And conspiring to make your life better, to make sure you
Yes,
survive, to make sure that you're taken care of. All these conversations are happening around you, and the goodwill of these people and their desire for you to get out of a very dangerous situation, but also a very stuck place. This is why you're here today. And that really warms my heart to know, because we hear so many stories in which people are plotting against or conspiring against. But I don't think we talk enough about the people who are conspiring to help and
yes.
conspiring to support and conspiring to transform. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I just give, thanks to God, and I was telling you in some of the conversations that we've had is that I feel like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I've incurred a debt to Coach Hicks. I incurred a debt to the late Dr. Roderick Page. He died just a few months ago. Uh, the young man who encouraged me to extend my stay into the United States Army so that I wouldn't end up going to Vietnam, with the masses that were there. I don't even know what his name was or who he was. And
Hmm.
it just goes on and on. When I was at the I did an internship at St. John's Hospital in Detroit, Michigan, and
Yes.
Dr. J.J. Humes, who unfortunately got a bad rap for he did the autopsy on JFK.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and so he was the vice president and the chief of pathology at the hospital. And
Hmm.
once again, he took me under his wing. That's how I got into the Navy.
Wow.
Dr. Humes called me into his office one day and said, Duck, where are you going to study pathology? I said, I'm looking at several places. He said, well, there's only two places I'll recommend. He was a Navy man, former Navy captain. He said, there's
Wow.
two places I'll recommend. I said, well, what are they, Dr. Hume? He said, my program here at St. John or the Naval Hospital in San Diego or Washington, D.C. I'd always had this
Amazing.
desire to teach. So as much as I admired Dr. Hume, I was thinking without telling anyone, I said, if I go to a community hospital, it might be difficult to go to the university and teach. If I go to the
Hmm.
Navy and take their program, then it'll be easier for me to go to the university or come back to the community hospital from there. So
Yeah.
I chose the Navy and ended up in San Diego. But it just goes on and on and on. And I don't know how long I've been in practice, but in the year 2000, Dr. Joy Carter, who had become the first Black lady to become a chief medical examiner of a major office in all of the United States,
Yeah.
came to Harris County, Texas. I was in
Mm.
St. Joseph, Missouri at the time. I called to congratulate her. She said, I have an open spot if you'd like to train. I
I
had
love that.
I'd never been in a morgue. I'd
Wow.
done hospital autopsies, But I took her up on it. I left St. Joseph, Missouri, came to Harris County, became the first Black man. And I call myself a gentleman because when I made full colonel in the United States Army Reserve, the Senate said that I was an officer and a gentleman. So I became the first Black gentleman to study forensic pathology at the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office, went on to become the first to become board certified in forensic pathology, went on to become the first that was hired there as an assistant medical examiner, and unfortunately, the first fired.
Oh. Well,
That's a story for another day.
oh my gosh. Wow, what a journey. And I have to ask because you talked about how you made these conscious decisions based on teaching because you had it in your heart to teach. And why forensic medicine and why this desire to teach? Like why did you have this drive for these two vocations that are still present in your life? You're still teaching, you're
Uh,
still, as a speaker, as an advocate, as a writer, you're still teaching us so many lessons, and the this career that you've had, it has been not only 4 decades, but it has extended to everything you're doing today. So why these two passions?
the teaching is there was two things. Okay, there there are not very many African Americans that go into pathology, and even fewer that go into forensic medicine, forensic pathology. As a matter of fact, I think there's maybe a dozen of us throughout the nation in forensic pathology. Uh, but I wanted to get in front of the students, particularly those who were first and second year medical students. I believe pathology is the sum of the alternatives of medicine. I believe if you know pathology, then you know medicine, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I wanted to teach that, and I wanted to be an example for them. I wanted to them to see and feel and be able to talk to someone who had been there, who had walked the walk, and to someone that you could talk to. Once I was uh, I was offered. I'm not going to tell you what university the but the and here then one of the reasons why I left the university, missed the students to this day, was the
Oh,
politics of the university.
yeah.
If you believe it or not, I had gone to this university and I was teaching, and I was not the best teacher by a long shot, but I think the students recognized how much I cared for them. I spent time with them on the weekend and after hours, trying to teach them how to put it together that it wasn't compartmentalized. So they voted me the sophomore teacher of the year. And
Oh,
if you can believe it, my pathology colleagues made them rename the award, said that I hadn't been at the university for a year.
wow.
this, this is too much. Uh,
Wow.
anyway, but I had so many positive experiences. They refused to
Yeah.
give the reward to anyone and the award to anyone else. So they renamed it and gave it to me. But the one thing that I missed from the university, I don't miss the politics and the backbiting, but I miss the students, and I still try as often as I can to get in front of as many of them as I can. And my assistant, Catherine Southgate, is going to be working double time after we publish the Gifts of Pain, Volume 5, to help
Mm-hmm.
me get in front of more students.
Yeah. Wow. And so why do you feel that being represented in these fields, not only forensic medicine, but any field where people of color are underrepresented. Why do you feel that's important today as an advocate?
I think that I, you know, I think how you relate or how you feel about the person who's treating you as they touch you, as they greet you, as they make you feel welcome, make you feel like a person. Uh, I believe in my heart, and I've had some experiences, to go along with it. I just feel like I was better cared for as a
Mm-hmm.
patient when I saw physicians who look like me. And I don't mean that in any way except exactly as it sounds. Okay. And I think it's so important, that we have enough people of color and they treat and take care of people of color. We are leading the death rates in our community the higher,
Yeah.
obesity, diabetes, chronic diseases are higher. And I just think that we need more of, quote, our people, in the quote, in
Mm-hmm.
there caring for, helping. And it's more than a blood pressure cuff and a prescription pad. It's people who care
Yeah.
about the well-being, take care of the family. My hat goes off to family practice physicians. I don't know about today, but back in the day, they cared for the entire family.
Yeah.
We become medicine has become so fragmented today.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
that
Absolutely. Yeah.
the kidney specialist won't look up beyond your kidney to see if your heart is. I
Yeah.
shouldn't say that. My daughter is a nephrologist.
No, but I understand what you're saying. I think that's a reflection of our whole society, right? And how we as people have become compartmentalized and not unified in not only in our thinking, but also in our professions and in our homes, right? And so I really love the perspective that you offer. And so one thing that I want to know is, and I've told you this before in our work together, how I believe, and when I learned this story, I believe that you are Coach Hicks for so many people. And these people that you have talked about that took you under their wing, that, you didn't know their name, and yet they showed up for you in a way that you could have never imagined possible. But I know that you do that for so many people, especially young people. And so what drives you to be an advocate and to speak about these subjects, and what are the subjects that you speak about? So if someone is listening right now and they wanted to bring you as a keynote speaker, what are the messages that you share?
The message is, I believe that the students need to be encouraged. They need to believe in themselves. That's why whenever I get a chance to talk with them, and once I find out, what their goals and dreams are, and let's say if their desire is to be an EMT technician, a firefighter, whatever, then I
Mm-hmm.
try to put them in front of firefighters or EMTs that look like them. I want them to see and feel and be mentored by them. And I think if they can begin to believe, if they can first believe that they can be a firefighter or an EMT,
Yeah.
then the rest of it is dedication. They'll dedicate themselves to it, but they have to first believe. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do. We're trying to plant the seeds. We're trying to use the examples of the past. We're trying to use the shoulders of people in the past that we can stand on.
Yeah.
Okay, we're using our parents and grandparents' prayers and hopes, and just trying to open up. But I honestly believe that if we can get the student to believe in themselves, to see people out there doing ophthalmology and doing optometry, and that's willing to spend some time with them, either virtually or in person. I believe that if they begin to coalesce on that seeing, that feeling, that and believing in themselves, I believe that they will go out. I believe they can and will go out and achieve it. We are a remarkable people. If you don't believe it, look back historically at the obstacles that were put in our way and how we've overcome and
Mm.
still overcoming today.
Yes, absolutely. I think and I agree with you that belief is such a pillar and a strong foundation to build upon. And you definitely bring that message with everything that you share. And so, how would you say that someone can take that to heart and show belief in someone else? What are some ways that you think we can do that with students and with young people in our lives or in our work?
We can, first of all, we have to be the example for them of what they want to be. That's why I feel that it's so important that I, as a forensic pathologist, try to incorporate and bring in ophthalmology technicians, firefighters, EMTs,
Yeah.
to so that they can just see. I think that we're not doing enough to instill belief in the students. I think that unfortunately, I tell you, I graduated from high school in 1960.
Wow.
There are still young people who are graduating today, and
Yes.
they haven't had anyone to pull them aside or sit them down and say, "What are you going to do? What's your goal? What do you want to be? Where do you want to be next year? What do you want to be 2 years? Where would you like to be 5 years, from today?"
Yeah.
And help
Those
them
are
to
great
get to
questions.
set some goals and to begin to believe in themselves and to manifest it, to start to you, look at people and and say, who's doing what you're doing and said, I can do that. That's what I want to do. I want to be like him. I want to
Hmm.
be a Mr. Hicks.
Yes.
Okay, I can help someone else, and
Yes.
that's what uh, I still I pray for Mr. Hicks' offspring every day. I don't know
Hmm.
them. I don't know where they are, but I pray that I can be more like him, every day. And I
Yeah.
pray that wherever his offsprings are, that the Lord will bless and keep them. Because when I think, I don't even know how or why it happened, Elena. When he just popped up in my mother's house,
Yeah.
and she believed in him so deeply. Now, the one thing I guess the one thing I do regret, and times do change. I
Yeah.
think if I popped up at someone's house and told their parents to pack their clothes, they'd probably call the sheriff. But we can still do or be a Mr. Hicks. We just have to use different techniques. But
Yeah.
my mother believed in him so much,
Yeah.
okay, that
Yeah.
he simply said to her, "Pack his clothes, I'll be back tomorrow."
Yeah.
And she did.
Yeah.
God bless her. And
And I
when
think,
she,
yeah, go ahead.
I was telling you, you've seen her poem, you've seen the poem I wrote about her, Miss Reed. But When
Yeah.
she finished, she sent the middle five of her children to, to Alcorn Agricultural and Mechanical College. And then she went to college herself. She was very smart. They just simply wouldn't allow her to go to school beyond the eighth grade when she was a child.
Wow.
But now so the discussion, so Mr. Hicks, he flipped the triangle,
Yeah.
went from one, there are so many degrees in our family, today that you just have to. Sometimes I just pause and whisper a prayer of thanks, for the Posey family, the entire family, our
Amen. Wow.
spouses and our loved ones. And every day I'm looking for an opportunity to encourage or empower some young person
Yeah.
to give them a belief, to put someone in front of them, to talk to them about setting goals, to tell them how important it is to throw it out there. Don't be afraid to tell, or ashamed or embarrassed to tell someone at a young age, I want to be a pathologist. I want to be an ophthalmologist. I want to be a physician. I want to go to law school. Okay.
Yes.
And
Yes.
began to, and then start reinforcing those thoughts for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have lawyers to put their arms around them and just talk to them.
Yeah. That reminds me one time I was I was in a mentorship program with Steve Harvey, and he told us this story of when he was a child. He went to school, and the teacher gave them an assignment. I don't remember the grade. I'm gonna say it was probably the third grade or so. And he told the story of how um, the teacher said, tomorrow, bring a little write up about what you're gonna be when you grow up. And so Steve says to us, he goes home, he writes his paper, he is really excited, and then comes back the next day and he says all about how he's going to be on TV one day. And he gets in front of the class, reads, his dream and his goals and all the things he's going to do. And the teacher said, who do you know who's on TV? And he said, nobody, sir. And he said, you come back tomorrow with something more realistic.
My God.
And so he went to his parents and he said, he told me to write something more realistic. And he gave me the example of a police officer. And so basically, the father said to him, you know what? You're in school and you need to do the assignment like the teacher told you. But your mom and I believe that you're going to be on TV.
Yes.
We
Yes.
see you on TV. We know you're going to be on TV. We know, we believe in you, and we know it's going to happen. So, lo and behold, he tells us we're in a tiny room in Atlanta where, he used to live. And we're in a tiny room, and he told us how this particular teacher gets a brand new LED screen TV, big screen TV every Christmas from him so that she can see him real well in, high definition
Yes.
because she didn't believe that he could do it. I think it was a female, I don't remember, but now that I'm thinking about it, and those messages can go either way. So I
Hmm.
think what you're saying is so important to to go beyond that level of what's possible, especially for people of color, because everybody knows who Steve Harvey is all around the world and they've seen him on TV. But there was a moment in which it could have gone the other way and he could have given up because he didn't see, he didn't know anyone, not only on TV, but he might have not ever believed that he could be on TV. So I really love what you're sharing, and it reminded me of that story because I think we all must be really conscious of what we're saying to young people, and
Yes,
that like you said, being an example and finding those examples. Now that you are an example, now we can, if somebody wants to be in forensic medicine, I can say, look, look at Dr. Posey.
yes, yes.
He was did it for 40 years, and so that's really key, and that's what Coach Hicks also made possible for someone like you to be there,
Yes, he
and
did.
you have opened the belief gates for so many other people, and so I really appreciate everything you've done throughout your career, the books that you've written. If you have time and you like forensic medicine or true crime, make sure that you check out Dr. Posey on Amazon. He has books for sale and also on his website. You can visit his website, and I'm going to have all the links available for you in the show notes so that you can connect with Dr. Posey, but also not only going through his website, douglasposeymd.com, but also connect with him on social media and make sure that you read his chapter in The Gifts of Pain. It's called From Banana Boat to White Coat, which you have learned that journey today. Thank you so much, Dr. Posey. I'm so grateful for your wisdom, for your passion, and for everything that you shared. Is there anything else that you want to close with before we leave today?
I simply like to close by letting you know how grateful I am to have been able to spend this time with you. And I
Uh,
hope someone will hear what I'm trying to say, believe that I'm trying to be a Mr. Hicks, and follow up with me.
yeah.
Trust me, test me, and let's do it. Thank you, Elena. You're
Thank you.
terrific.
You're terrific too. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today to the Transformational Storytellers show. Stay tuned and see you next Thursday.
Bye bye.
Bye.